Hey, you actually beat me here? That's a first. Well, I guess you're just really interested in knowing the ending of the book. I am too. Should we get started? Let's see. Reconciliation. A noun. The act of restoring to harmony, resolution, reunion. Wild and precious. I'm officially in love with Mary Oliver. I envy the confidence of her poems, and I draw strength from the possibility that I, too, might one day understand my place in the natural world. I am certain that the question she asks at the end of the day, of the summer day, is intended just for me. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Do you know? No, I'm literally asking you, do you know? I don't know what might be in store down the road, but I know I won't waste another day agonizing over what I can't control. I'm going to make sure my one wild and precious life is spent living as fully and completely as I can. And if that means living alone with an aging Rottweiler and eating canned food until I'm an old woman, so be it. Blizzards. I have to dig a path for George to go out to pee. Sometimes he just goes in the snow on the porch. We stay warm by the wood stove. The storms leave behind a sparkling world of ice. The sun slices cold through the sharp blue, and every tree, twig, stone, fence post is enshrined in glittery prisms. George struggles on the slick glass sidewalk, but I push off and slide for several thrilling feet. We play in the wintry beauty until I can't feel my toes. The sound of my laughter echoes up and down the street. Spring flowers. After months of cold, warm weather finally subdues winter. Green sprouts emerge out of the dark, moist earth, and buds appear on branches. In the front yard, the redbud tree explodes into thousands of tiny purple blossoms. Daffodil and tulip bulbs push their tenacious stems up from the ground and burst into boisterous color. Purple larkspur grow rogue and tall from the cracks in the middle of the street sidewalks. Gaillardia bloom in red and yellow clusters in the mounds of rock and soil that used to be the creek path. Black-eyed Susans, purple coneflowers, and multicolored cosmos decorate alleys, yards, and vacant lots. It seems the floodwaters scattered more than debris and destruction. They also sowed new seeds in places where flowers never used to grow. New beginnings for the battered town. New beginnings for my weary heart. Summer advice. As the days pass and the light elongates, the temperatures reach upward and I reach back to the poets to Mary Oliver's summer advice to fall down in the grass. Though the grass in the Millerville grows rightlessly long after so many seasons with no tending, I stroll through the fields, play with feeling idle, and blessed to ponder my one wild and precious life. Could my life be any wilder or more precious? If Emily Dickinson's hope is a thing with feathers, then there are many flocks of hope flying overhead, nesting noisily in the trees and hedges all around. The beginning of my 4th year alone in this place, yet Mother Nature insists on optimism. Autumn fruit. Plums fall to the earth in messy piles of red and purple sweetness. Apricots and peaches hang like juicy jewels, buzzing with bees. Apples are so abundant, their branches bow all the way down to the ground. In the abandoned garden at Millerville Elementary School, one enchanted apple tree yields 6 astonishing varieties. I'm a fairy tale princess, picking red, green, yellow, and blush-colored apples from different limbs of the same tree. Teeth break skin, tongue licks juice, shiver pleasure ripples through me, fruit flesh in my mouth. I eat my fill and fill my pack. Interlopers. George wakes up stiff and limping, so I leave him home and trek out alone. I scavenge among the orchards behind the retirement villas in my mother's old neighborhood. I load my backpack and I'm crossing the street when a loud rumbling vibrates the ground. I freeze, unable to translate the sound. It's my imagination. Has to be. I close my eyes. Will the rumbling stop? But the sound isn't in my head. The whir and the chop of helicopter comes closer. Rescue danger looters, invaders. Giants, boots. I drop my backpack, run as fast as I can toward the side yard of the nearest house. Throw myself into a cluster of spirea bushes. Tuck down into the smallest space possible. A Chinook helicopter materializes overhead. Its great, gray body blocks the sun. Military? Friend? Or foe? When I was little, Dad teased me when formations of Chinooks flew over. I thought they looked like huge boots with propellers at each end. Dad made up stories about a careless giant whose shoes kept flying off his feet. Engine rumble continues, doesn't recede. I crawl to the front corner of the house. The helicopter hovers over the lake, down past the end of the street. Do you think that she's going to be saved, or do you think it's people looking for supplies to survive? I backtrack around to the backyard, skirt the deck, climb over the split rail fence, hug the houses, keep ears and eyes on the sky for the other helicopters, pick my way from the yard toward the end of the block and the west side of the lake park. Stay low in the shadows, cut north toward the wetlands preserve, scramble over the hill, drop and belly crawl into the willow thickets on the north lakeshore. Sneak toward the water and the sound of the helicopter. The Chinook hovers above the lake, creates white caps, pulsing out in all directions, hangs there several minutes, rises up and flies over the boathouse on the southern shore. Lowers down again, disappears out of sight. Red dust clouds the air, and I know it landed on the baseball diamond behind the parking lot. If those are looters, they are far more sophisticated and prepared than the men on the trucks years ago. If they aren't looters, this could mean rescue. This could be the chance I've been waiting for all these lonely months and years. But they could also be invaders from another country. The imminent threat? Maybe they are the reason for the whole evacuation in the first place. My heart slams back and forth almost as loud as the helicopter. I have to see what's happening without being seen. Spy. The East End Lake Path is the shortest but wide open and exposed, visible to anyone. Nowhere to hide. And whoever's on board the chopper could just as easily be coming down the trail from either direction. The last thing I want is to walk straight into someone or something unprepared. My mind works faster than my heart pounds. Keep hidden, no matter what. It's my only advantage. Can't risk being seen until I know what I'm dealing with. Stay deep in the willows, scramble along the coyote paths, zigzag through thickets toward the west end of the lake. The sound of the engine cuts off. I freeze. Can't hear anything but water lapping on the shore, my own breathing. One careful step at a time, aware of every sound I make. Men's voices coming closer. Can't discern what they say. Voices grow louder, then shift direction and fade. Count to 50. Creep to the edge of the trail. peek out as the men turn away from the lake toward the east end of the neighborhood. Wait another moment. Dash across the trail into a stand of cottonwood trees. And but, with one T. I will not let my fear of these unknown men sabotage what might be the only chance at me being saved, and I refuse to let my desperate hope for rescue cloud my judgment and put myself in danger. How many times have I been tested since the evacuation? How much more will I have to endure? Blizzards, looters, tornadoes, dogs, injury, fires, floods, hunger, fear, and the deepest loneliness imaginable. I have faced impossible obstacles, conquered every challenge thrown at me. Whether these men offer friendship or threats, I can only keep George and myself safe if I can figure out who they are and what they're doing in Millerville. I'm afraid of being discovered. I'm equally afraid of losing track of where the men have gone. The thought of being so close to other humans, only to be left behind again, is nauseating. But the possibility that they might pose a threat or do me harm is downright terrifying. From one moment to the next, I don't know which is worse. Flesh and blood. Follow the voices up the trail into the neighborhood. Keep to the shrubbery. Move from shadow to shadow. Stay within earshot. At the end of my mother's block, peer around the corner, see them all huddled in the middle of the street, their backs to me. Unlike the looters, these men wear matching jumpsuits, boots, and caps. They walk up the street, pause to look at burnt-out remains of houses and cars. I watch, ready to run at any moment. They stop at Mom's ruined house. One of the men walks forward, shakes his head, pulls a handkerchief from his pocket, blows his nose, turns, and for the first time, I see his face. Her face. My mother's face looks out from under the cap. Her hair's cut short and her eyes look exhausted, but it's my mother, flesh and blood. I burst into tears. And then I'm running and shouting down the street, shouting with my entire body and spirit. My mother and the men turn toward me. I see nothing but my mother's stunned, beautiful face. As I fly toward her, then I'm in her arms, and we are weeping, holding each other, rocking back and forth. She's shorter and smaller than I remember, but her arms are familiar and strong, and I dissolve into them. And then another set of arms encircles and embraces us both, and I hear my father's voice, laughing and crying, repeating my name over and over. They are here. They are alive. They have come for me. They have come. Afterwards. Not like afterwards, but WORDS. Their voices, their questions, the touch of their hands. Everyone's waiting, they say. Everyone's fine. The imminent threat? It never existed. A massive land grab, unprecedented, fraud, elections, new government, conditions returning to normal. I can't care. Not yet. So many answers, too many questions. There's only this. The touch of their hands, skin on warm skin, family skin, on our skin, own skin, to be held, to be seen, to be heard, to be known. These are the nutrients missing from my diet of the last 3 years. Mal-love nourished. Forgot totally what it means to be heart-quenched, soul-satiated. Now it fills me, feeds me, holds me, stills me, with George tucked beneath my feet. And my mother and my father each holding my hands. We fly up and over the only home I ever had, the home I forced to feed and shelter me. Up and over the charred neighborhood, the lake, the park, the town and all its buildings, the houses, the schools, the ruins from flood and storm. Down below, my ghost self haunts a maze of streets, always searching, always hunting, sometimes hoping, always wishing. Now there's only this. They have come for me. Come back for me. Back to this home that tried to kill me, tried to keep me alive. They are here. I am here. Simultaneous impossibilities. Like everything, like nothing, like love. Well, that was the end. Is that what you expected? Did you think that you would be, or that she would have been found? Or did you think she was gonna live alone forever? I figured she'd be found. Would you have made the same decisions as her? Would you have gone to seek help from the looters or stay away, especially after what they did to that animal? I think I would have stayed away. Wouldn't want them hurting George the Rottweiler. And they probably would view a female as holding them back. I think that'd be very tough. Being in solitary in prison, they say that changes you. At least she had the Rottweiler, because if she didn't, I feel like I would have gone insane if I was her. And I'm sure her social abilities are probably affected, because I think she was like, 12 when she first was alone? So 12 to 15? It's pretty crazy. Well, I appreciate you listening to me reading that book. I already have another book in mind for the next book club meeting if you're down with it. Good. Well, I don't want to spoil it. It'll be a surprise. Yeah, I'm like your little audiobook, huh? Well, I just want you to know that I really, really appreciate you. You're so amazing. Much, much love. And I hope you take care.